Hello, welcome everyone. We are here at Wealth Tidbit Stories. My name is Araceli and I'm a transition wealth advisor. And I love working with single professional women to rearrange their finances so they can get better at retiring sooner. And today, as I said, this show is based on financial transitions, what things we have gone through. And I'm basically interviewing people that I know, some of my clients, my colleagues, referral partners. And today I have a fantastic lady. Her name is Hailey Patry. And let me tell you one story about Hailey. The first time that I met Hailey, I didn't know what she did. I just saw her from far. And I was thinking to myself, wow, I've never seen anybody so happy. And then when I knew that she was a happiness coach, I says, oh my goodness, it's kind of like right on. So I can tell you she is fantastic. And she's going to tell you more about exactly what she does. And today she's going to share a story that is just, it's just amazing, amazing, amazing that I want to share. And I hope it inspires you that you know that whatever you're going through right now is going to get better. Hailey, can you tell us who you are, what you do, and then share your story?
Thank you so much, Araceli. And it's such an honor to be on your show and to be
Thank
here
you.
with you. You do such an incredible job for our Mississauga referral group. You are such a wonderful leader. And I'm really honored to be sharing stories with you today about financial transitions because I hope that more people who watch this will borrow some of the courage from my story to face their next transition, and that
Mhm.
they'll work with you as their financial transition guide to help them go through that, because you're unlike most people in your field. You have a background in engineering, and so you're conservative and sound,
Mm.
and all of your decisions are rooted in extremely safe foundations. And like myself, you've also been through the ringer personally.
Oh, yeah.
Both of us, both of us have survived a divorce, come out the other side, and we
Mhm.
put the pieces back together. So I know you bring a lot of wisdom to your clients, and thank you for having me today.
Thank
My
you for
friend,
being here.
oh, my pleasure. So friends, my name is Hailey Patry. I'm a mom of three busy, spirited young boys, happily married. I live in Oakville. And when I am not doing my family roles, I run a coaching institute called The Lifted Lid. If you can imagine being stuck in a box and just praying to have that lid lifted so you can stand tall again, I work in three areas, which are around happiness, so supporting you through things such as depression, anxiety, addiction, trauma, loss, and transition. I also work in the space of relationships, helping couples to find their way back to a good place together, especially after the trauma of things like infidelity, helping singles to find the one. And I also do a little bit of business coaching as the happy business coach, helping you find your words and your worth. But I think we're here today to talk about some of the scariest financial transitions that I've personally gone through. I'm happy to share and embarrass myself a little bit so that if you're going through any of these transitions, I hope today's show is going to give you the confidence that you can and you will come out the other side when you have good people in your corner believing in you and helping you through it, such as Araceli.
That's fantastic. And I know some of your story, but it's better if it comes from you. And it is incredible the things that you have gone through. And yeah, like when I look at my story and I think, oh my God, I went through so many things, it's nothing, absolutely nothing like you have gone through.
You're
Please tell
so kind,
us,
Ellie.
yeah.
We'll give a little of of those details. And so, when I think of my life and I think of some of the financial transitions, I bought my first house when I was 19. I started saving up when I was 17, and I also bought my first insurance policy at 19 because I really couldn't wait to get out and make my own life happen. Uh, the scary financial transition, though, happened to me when I was 27. This was a massive decision. I found myself inside my first marriage. My former husband and I owned a business together, a physical business. We had a little boy that was 10 months old, and that marriage wasn't a safe place for my son and I. And so when I made the decision to leave, I knew part of what would happen next. I knew I would become a single mom. I knew I would have a nursing baby while running multiple companies. I knew it would be chaotic, but something happened that I didn't know about, that I didn't know would happen, and that is that my partner went bankrupt. And so I ended up inheriting debt that wasn't mine, debt that happened from before I met him. And to become a single mom at 27 with six figures of debt was, of course, terrifying.
Wow.
I think the logical thing to do, and the advice I got from a lot of people, would have been to go bankrupt.
Yeah.
But I made the decision to pay off as much of that debt as fast as I could. And it really led me to starting another business. I ended up spending 10 years in the home based business industry because I was committed to getting that debt down.
Mhm.
And it was terrifying. I was expert in the business we had. We owned a gym, and I was a personal trainer, nutritionist, fitness instructor. And I went into uncharted territory. But I knew that I wasn't making enough money per hour to be
Mhm.
a mom, handle a baby, go through a divorce, and pay off this debt I now found myself with. So the first scary leap was deciding to keep the debt and work to pay it off, not to go bankrupt
Wow.
again.
Yeah.
The second scary leap was to start a new career journey, a side hustle, as many
Yeah.
people call it, and to treat it like our lives depended on it. So within 26 months, I became known as the little single mom who escaped a toxic relationship and became debt free. And Araceli, that ended up starting my speaking career. Because
Yeah.
of that, I was speaking 11 years ago to an audience, and in the crowd was my second and now and forever husband. So, I believe that when we're faced with these really terrifying transitions,
Mhm.
it's hard to picture in the crystal ball what life is going to look like after the dust settles, but the dust will settle.
Oh
And
yeah.
I did get my financial ducks in a row before I left. I did make a plan for what I was going to do. I did consult with professionals because, if you're watching this and you're considering ending a relationship and there's financial implications, that's what Araceli is here for, to help you figure out what is the position
Mhm.
you're in now, what will your transition look like, and what position could she help you get into after.
Yeah.
So, although it was terrifying and those 2.5 years of paying off so much debt weren't fun, gosh, I'm so grateful I did, because this gentleman right here, met him in the audience, came into my life, adopted my son legally, and then we had two more babies together. So now we're a family
Wow.
of five. And if I would have been too afraid to leave
Yeah. That
or
is, yeah, in such a, in such a period of time, it was so amazing. And one of the things that I always get out of any transition that we go through is that you don't know what is on the other side. And sometimes it seems uncomfortable when you were going through, but after we finish that transition and everything settles, there is something good on the other side that maybe that's why we have to go through that transition. Would you agree
absolutely.
on that? Yeah.
I believe, Araceli, and I think you and I share this belief,
Hmm.
trauma, adversity, challenge, transition, all these things, they happen to us to make us and not to
No.
break us. It is, of course, very hard when you're going through the grinder, when you are being refined and polished by life. But that personal growth, the character growth, and the new people we can become and the new lives we can
Hmm.
create when we're on the other side. When I look back at that financial transition, making the decision to leave the marriage, making the decision to pay down the debt, making the decision to start another business while raising a baby, I wouldn't go back and change any of it because the way it worked out was perfect. And then we bumped into the next scary transition. So, my husband and I, we've been together 11 years, just over 11 years. And when I was pregnant with my second child, which is his first, he unfortunately lost his job. And I was going to be a stay at home mom. He was going to take paternity leave, and we were going to do this together.
Wow.
But we had to think pretty quick on our feet. And we decided that because I have the business owner background, he would be a stay at home dad, and I would amp up my business. And yet again, choose to go into uncharted territory and start something scary that was unknown and take that chance. And I'm proud to share, Araceli, that for 5.5 years, he was a stay-at-home dad. We welcomed two babies. So we had a son, year and a half plus 1 day later, we
Yeah.
had another baby. And, for 5.5 years, I was the sole financial provider for our family. That was a terrifying financial
Wow.
transition,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
so many good things came of that. First and foremost, my kids got a really rich experience getting raised by their fun, hands on dad and getting that level of play and athletics and, face to face time in their lives. Something else happened, which was once again, I had to figure out a way to make more income in less time.
Hmm.
And so 4.5 years ago, I started my coaching institute, the Lifted Lid, and I have been coaching for almost 20 years for free, just giving it away,
Hmm.
doing other things full time and giving coaching to my clients on the side for free. So when I made the decision that I was going to now make a living out of this by helping people,
Wow.
two amazing things happened. The first is in my first 9 months in business, brought in over $90,000 in coaching revenue, starting from zero. And I know a lot of coaches that never scratch past 40 or 50,000 a year every year.
Hmm.
And the truth is, it doesn't have to be so complicated to have a successful start. But here's the best thing that happened. In order to have brought in that revenue and do that scary transition, I was able to help over 30 individuals completely change their lives. And had we not gone through this trauma of him losing his job, if we hadn't decided I'd have to amp up my earnings again,
Hmm.
we hadn't decided that I was going to now really do this full time in a big way, I wouldn't have been able to help those people stop suicide. I wouldn't have been able to help those people get sober or clean. I wouldn't have been able to help those couples come back from infidelity. And I wouldn't have been able to help all those other business owners launch their successful, six-figure venture. So I think you and I can agree it's always hard when you're going through transition. And when we're faced with that choice, we can either
Hmm.
stay the same and be in pain,
Hmm.
or we can make a change and there will be work and struggle and some adversity and pain there too. But the pain of staying the same is the pain of failure and it's forever. The pain
Absolutely.
of being brave and making change and going for it, it's temporary. And then you graduate out of that and you're in a new and improved life for yourself.
Hmm.
So there's been
Wow.
so many scary financial moments in my life.
But
Many.
yeah, I do agree with you because some of the things that happen in your life that you just hate at the moment when it's happening, it ends up being the best thing. For the longest time, I struggled becoming a business owner instead of working for the corporate world, which is basically what I was raised to do. As an engineer, just work for a company and continue to get a paycheck. But at the end of the day, with all the transitions that I went in my life, something said to me, no, you cannot continue doing this. And it did take me a long time to make that decision. And that's why when I see you, I respect you so much for all the decisions that you made and how you came out on the other side.
And
And
it's
it's
our
that,
intention, right? Thank you
yeah,
so much for that, Araceli. It's our intention, and we all have very different realities. For our friends that are
for
listening,
sure.
I'm not someone that is able to be a workaholic. All three of my kids have some special brain health, mental health, and physical health needs. We do a whole lot of doctor's appointments in this family. And so I'm only able to work client facing 24 hours a week. Because of that, I have to be very intentional over how I use my time, how I
Hmm.
allocate resources. And when I think back over the years, I'm a planner, which is why I have so much
Yeah.
respect for financial advisors such as yourself. Um, there was a day years ago when our house became paid off. My husband and I had to make a financial choice. Do we enjoy this newfound money of not having to make a mortgage payment? Or do we keep the habit of our monthly payment and put it in something wiser? So we bought permanent insurance. We invested to protect our children's future and each other's futures. And that was scary because we were committing to pay a bill every month for the next 20 years. But all of the decisions that we've made about our finances, all of the decisions that we've made or I've made, they haven't come easily. And I think it really depends on your personality style, whether you're
Yeah.
someone that makes emotional decisions. Do you weigh it out?
Mm.
Do you use a decision making quadrant to help you? But I think this is where it really comes back to you, Araceli, is
Mhm.
when a woman who wants to secure her financial independence, freedom, and future is wrestling with a decision, she doesn't need to wrestle that decision alone. From a financial standpoint, she would be wise to consult with you and take you up on the free
Yeah,
initial consult you offer, so you could answer her numbers questions and make those projections, show her options. And if she's got anxiety about it, if she's scared or sad about it, that's where she can take me up on an invitation for a free consult.
for
To I think
sure.
together you and I can really give a woman the confidence and clarity for what her choices are,
Yeah.
and then she gets to choose powerfully for herself, not what's easiest, not what's best for now, what's going to be best for her
For her
long
in
term.
the future. So one
Yeah,
of the things that I find, Haley, is when I work with clients that are going through a transition, it is a very emotional time. And believe me, I understand totally because I went through it myself. And
mhm,
we lose the ability to think logically. And sometimes we make decisions that they are not in our best interest. And we require to have somebody outside ourselves to tell us, can you think about doing something different that is going to benefit you more in the long term instead of the
absolutely.
immediate emotional say, I don't want anything because I want to be out of here, right? So,
Sometimes those poor choices can be made out of spite,
yep.
hurt, revenge, desperation, or even avoidance. I once knew a young lady that got a large inheritance when she was 21, and she was so wise. She bought a condo and invested in a business. She only took a few $1,000s for a vacation.
Right.
But sometimes we will either come into money and squander it, or we will not pursue money that's available because we are angry or don't want to feel like we need someone. And there are, of course, you and I in our network, we work with an amazing mediator,
Mm-hmm.
and we know some great people, you and I, that can help someone if they're in this complicated situation. But I think there's also a price for peace of mind and freedom, right? There are times people
Absolutely.
walk away from some financial possibilities if they're going to come with too much turmoil.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, Haley, tell me, if you were meeting someone like you when you were going through transition, what were the feelings that were difficult to overcome before you made the decision? Tell the audience, what would you recommend for somebody?
The toughest part, Araceli, is the self worth piece. Because from that self worth comes our self belief and confidence.
Mhm.
And it has us either look towards the future and say, yeah, I could see that happening for me. Or it has us look towards the future and say, maybe for some other woman, but I just don't think it'll
Not for
be for
me.
me.
Yeah.
And so that was a very important backdrop to my journey of being able to leave an unsafe marriage, pay off so much debt as a single mom, have my husband be a stay at home parent and be the sole provider for 5.5 years, start my new business and create six-figure revenue in a short period of time. Those decisions didn't exist in a vacuum. In the backdrop, I went on a deep dive self worth journey to get my self worth to a level 10. Because we're not going to have financial success if you think you're a 2 out of 10. So
Yeah.
will your financial portfolio be. If you think you're a 3 out of 10, so will the next partner that you date. That's who you're going to attract into your life. So it's really important for women to understand that if you want to go on a worth journey, as in financial worth, you need to mirror it with a self worth journey. Your self worth is going to attract into your life that level of earnings, friends, opportunities, future love partners, if that's something that you want. And we just sometimes come out of our relationships fairly scarred with a dent on our self worth. And that's the time when we're supposed to make all these financial decisions. It's really important to get some support and know every heartbreak and every transition, it's a chance to raise your standards. It's a chance to grow. It's a chance to enhance your character and become the next best version of yourself and claim a higher self worth because it is very dangerous.
Mm,
We go from a dicey situation like, what are some of the transitions? Losing a job, getting cancer, going through a
divorce.
divorce, having your partner pass away. I mean, a lot of these transitions are very hard on our self worth.
Hmm.
We've got to do the opposite. We've got to ramp up our self care. We've got to ramp up whether you're doing do it yourself personal growth or you're working with a coach or therapist. You got to know you deserve a financially abundant life to then have one. And there's a lot of mindset work behind making these financial
Yeah.
decisions. But even if a woman knew she was a 10 and her self worth was top notch, she still needs somebody like yourself, Araceli, to then teach her what to do,
Hmm.
when to do it, and with which products for her to be able to
For
actually.
sure. Yeah, that's absolutely true. And what an amazing point you made, because I do believe that it's true. After a transition, we're just so beat up and we don't think that we deserve anything because something went wrong. But the fact is that no matter what you do or no matter how much you plan, something will be derailed at some point or another, either with a financial plan or a financial or a life plan
Or a pandemic
or
or something like that.
anything, like who would have thought about this happening? I never thought in my life I would see something like this.
Exactly.
It is here, and the only thing that we can do is adapt and continue on.
And I think,
So,
that brings up a really great point, which is the right time in a woman's life to reach out to you isn't just when she's going through a current transition, but it is to plan for what are the possible recoveries when things go sideways, because
yeah,
they can, and to always reach out to you early. I think you and I are a bit similar in that when the world is going
yes,
sideways, people are afraid to reach out to their wealth advisor and find out what their numbers are. Do the opposite, call
yeah,
early and come up with
exactly.
a contingency plan. And coaching is the same. People like to wait until things are really falling apart before they reach out. There is nothing wrong with having a woman reach out to you for preventative
Hmm.
financial planning. And same thing with myself around their well-being. And
Exactly. And you know what? There's always a good review to do every 5 years. Even if something seems to be level, it's a good time to review it because things can be improved, they can be changed. There's other things and products that come along that might be better suited to you. So there's never a wrong time to talk to a coach, financial planner, anybody for anything that you like. Haley, I love everything that you said today, and I hope that you, the audience, get inspired by this story, which is a fantastic story. But more importantly, that how brave uh, Haley is, has been and continues to be, which is a great role model for myself and for others, and that you can get inspired to move forward in whatever transition you're going through. Haley, do you have any
thank you so
final
much,
words? Any final words for the audience?
Erin. For our audience, if you could recall an event in your life that at the time seemed negative, hard, or like it shouldn't have been happening to you, I'm sure you can recall one of those experiences that ended up in a good place and with better results in your life. So if you could look back in your timeline and remember even just one thing that at the time felt awful, but became one of the best things that happened to you, borrow from your own past and have that trust that when a financial transition that seems scary is upon you right now, trust that on the other side of it, yes, it might be 6 months or a year of murky waters. Trust, though, that on the other side of that, your life goes up from here. And don't just wait for it to go up, set the intention for it to go up. Get crystal clear on what is the next level version of you, your life, your finances that you want to create in the future when you can create it. And with the right support, which you definitely have inside of Araceli's amazing community and network, we're both here for you. You absolutely can recover from what you're going through. And instead of bounce back, how about bounce better? So
Yeah.
please take both on our invitation to gift you a little bit of free time, have a private, confidential conversation about your financial situation or your mindset and headspace and how things are for you. And we're here to support you. You will get through this. And we can't wait to hear your brave story about how scary it was to take the leap
Yeah.
and how well things worked out on the other side.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing this. Believe me, at the audience, contact Hailey if you're going through anything that is a transition level, or maybe you don't even know your options. She's an amazing person and an amazing coach. So thank you so much for being here. And we will see you on the next episode with another fantastic transition story. Thank you, Haley.
See you, abundance.
Bye.
Bye.